LC Global.
Immediately, one of the things I want to start off with, you got to have they tell me if you're going to do social media, you got to have a good hook. They call it clickbait. And so you got to have, first of all, a good hook. And so the hook that I'm going to use is something I've been hearing this past week. And people are telling me, well, Dr. Ed, I don't read the Bible. I said, okay. And I'd hear somebody else say, well, I said, well, do you read the Bible? And so I started asking, well, maybe once a week, well, maybe once every 2 weeks. Well, to be honest with you, maybe once a month. I really don't read the Bible. And so I was asking them, what's up with that? I mean, they said, Dr. Ed, actually, I don't understand it. I don't understand, and I know you sitting in here, you ain't gonna say amen because you don't want nobody to think you don't understand it either. But they said, I don't understand it. And I said, I understand that. They said, you do? I didn't want to say that, but you do. I said, of course I do. Of course I understand that. I said, there are tips and tricks to reading the Bible. Really? I said, yeah. I said, and especially I shouldn't say reading, but to understanding it. So what I'm going to do is teach you how to understand the Bible in 7 minutes. Huh? I mean, it may take me a little bit longer to teach you the understanding of how to understand the Bible in 7 minutes. But no, I'm going to teach you how to understand. If you don't understand the Bible, and if you don't read it because you don't understand it, I'm going to teach you how to understand it within 7 minutes. Not only that, but I'm also, from there, since I'll have a little bit of time left, I'm going to deal with what we're moving into, which is what the Bible actually is about. It is about abundance. Say abundance. Abundance, abundance. I said it's in our name, it's in our documents, and in everything that we do. I said it is time to begin to move into that area. 2023 is 223 sevens. The what they call the number of completion, the number of fullness. 2024, this is an 8, which is a new beginning. But new beginnings are not always good. Sometimes they're rocky, because some things get off to a rocky beginning or to a stormy beginning, and this is basically what we may be looking at. 2025 goes into the 9, which takes us into that era of purpose, that era of, I shouldn't say purpose, but purposes, because people are always trying to ask the question, what is my purpose? That's not the right question. The question is purposes. Because if you'll be looking for a purpose, and which you could have more than one, and both of them might be opposite of each other, but we'll talk about that. So, and then later I'm going to talk, and then toward the end I'm going to talk about last week Rosalind Carter passed away, the wife of Jimmy Carter. And there's some little things I want to throw in. These are not long blurbs, but together they make today's word today. So I'm going to talk about these things. So let me get started, first of all, in understanding the Bible. How to understand the Bible within 7 minutes. And it's going to take some effort from you. First of all, and you've heard me do it, but I need to do it online because there's some people that need to know how to understand the Bible in 7 minutes. First of all, get rid of your concept of the Bible. You say, what is my concept of the Bible? Well, it's like this. Okay. When you hear me pause like this, I'm pausing and I'm asking the Lord, should I tell this? And so they're usually thinking, okay, I like novels, I like series of books that are in series. And one of the series that I like is vampire novels. All right? Okay. All right. I mean, you can almost tell. There are little things that you can tell. Why would he like why would he like vampire? My grandfather hooked me on vampire movies. Bela Lugosi. He said, now this is Bela Lugosi. This is the beginning of those vampire movies. And he would show me, and I said, oh, he said, no, look at this. Look at how this working and thing. And so it would start right there. Then I started getting off into those Hammer films. Those Hammer films are those vampire movies with this next vampire. I forgot his name, but anyway, he was in there. And some of you know, but don't worry about it. But he was in there, and he was always, and I guess it was like about blood and life and coffins. Oh my God, how dark am I? But I got off into that. So, of course, when the novels by Anne Rice began, when Interview with a Vampire came out, and I was hooked. And then, then she came out with Lestat. And then after that, she came out with Aaliyah. She's gone on, passed away, and I think it was Aaliyah, yeah. And with Queen of the Damned, and then there was the other Armand. Anne Rice had all of these. And then Anne Rice got saved and became a Christian. Then, yeah, she did. Then she started writing. She wrote Christ the Lord. And so I began about Christ and his miracles and his journey. And so I said, okay. So I read Christ the Lord. There were 2 books of Christ the Lord. Then she went back to vampires. And they said, why you go back to vampires? She said, there wasn't no money in Christ the Lord. People didn't want to buy it. They wanted to buy the vampires. Nimnock the devil, the Mayflower, all of this weird stuff out there. And so I looked at that and I said, look at all of these books. Suppose I came home with all of these books in my arms and put them on the table and said, I want to know about this vampire. I want to know about that one. And then I want to know, and started trying to read all of those vampire novels. Then, of course, I got into the Harry Potter movies. I didn't read all the novels, but I got the Harry Potter movies. And so I looked at one movie and I looked at 10 minutes of that. Then I switched to the other one, and there was Harry Potter, then the Prisoner of Azkaban, I think, all those different things, and Harry Potter. And I said, oh my goodness, I don't understand. So I had to stop watching that one so I could go back and find out what that one was all about. Just a big mess. But then I also watched Star Trek movies, you know that. And so there are 7 seasons of Star Trek. And so what I do is I binge on these things. I try to binge on these novels or try to binge on series. On what I'm watching on television. I throw out one for Yolanda Adams. Binge on Kingdom Business. She's going into her 2nd season on that. But she said, have you seen the 2nd? I said, no, I ain't seen the 2nd season. Don't tell me nothing about no 2nd season. I said, because I had to go back to look at the 1st season again so I could get the flow of everything. Are you talking about understanding the Bible? I'm talking about understanding the Bible. And so in 7 minutes, and I got probably 3 or 4 more, I said, here is the deal. We're trying to binge on the Bible. And that's why you can't understand it. I don't binge on the Bible. Bible, Biblio, Holy Bible, Holy Biblio, Biblio, books. Say books. In the Bible, there are 66 books. Isn't it funny that the Bible would have 66 books and the Antichrist is 666? So evidently the Bible don't care nothing about that. 66 books. 39 books in the Old Testament, 27 books in the New Testament. Rip all the books out by themselves. In your mind. I know you think if you did that you were going to hell, but that's not true. Rip all the books out. Rip out Genesis by itself. Put a cover on Genesis, a front cover and a back cover, and put it on a shelf. Exodus, rip it out. Put a front cover on the back and write the title on the front, Exodus. And go all the way through what we call the Old Testament. And then rip out Matthew. Boom, put it on the shelf. Rip out Mark, put it on the shelf. Rip out all of them by themselves. Some book may only have 2 pages in it, but put a cover on the front, cover on the back, and the name on the side of the book so you can put it up, catalog it with a number so you can have a number so in case you go. And you will now look at your library and have the Old Testament on one side, New Testament on the other side. You will now walk through this library according to how big the cover is, and you will see these books lined up. How many of you will go in and pick out 10 books, take them and throw them on your desk, throw them on the floor, and try to read them all at the same time? No. It don't make sense, does it? And the reason, if you did, you wouldn't understand it. So evidently the goal is not to understand the Bible. We are not designed to understand the Bible. Now, I just taught you in 7 minutes how to understand the Bible. You are not supposed to. How are you going to understand 39 books, 27 books, 66 books? And I hear people say, well, I've read the Bible from cover to cover. And what do you remember? Oh. Of course they can't remember anything. They're different stories, different people. Now, I guess just told you that first thing of how to understand the Bible. You can't, because they're all different books. Now, number 2, another reason you can't understand the Bible, how to understand the Bible. You can't understand it like that because it's not in chronological order. Huh? It is not in chronological order. It don't go from year, and you're looking at 2, 3, 32, 3,500 years. That's 100 years, 3,500 years here, 3,500 years. You're looking at all this thing, and they don't come up. Well, after Moses comes Joshua. Yeah, but they skip things. They put things in the middle of people because it's not designed to be chronological. Now here comes a tough one. So throw away if you're looking for a chronological book, throw that away. You can't understand the Bible like that, so don't try. I don't even do it. I don't read it to figure out what happened next. It's not a novel. Number 3, it is archaeologically not stable. Oh, I said that perfectly. In other words, Jericho, where they say it is in the Bible, may not be. It might be 200 miles. You thought Bethlehem and all them places was in Israel. Now you're finding out it's in Gaza. It's in Palestine. All the different holy lands are all over the place. Archaeologically, it's not stable. And the history of it is not stable. Now you understand something else about the Bible. So there's no need of trying to read it to get archaeology. 4th, history. The history is not all the way you call it true. They considered it to be true because they're telling a story. They want you to come away with the understanding of the story. You're looking for the facts, because if you don't have the facts, then it's not true. If one fact is out of place, then God may not be real. And that scares us. If the facts are not in place. We're CNN, MSNBC, we're Fox, we're all these, we're news people. The facts. Well, nowadays, you back to the Bible kind of thing, because they ain't telling the facts, they just giving their opinion. It's opinionated now. But it's not, the facts are not there. Are you telling me that Jonah is not real? That Jonah, you know Jonah and the whale. They read you as a kid. Jonah was on a boat. They got mad at Jonah, threw Jonah over the edge of the boat, and a big old fish, sometimes they say whale, but the Bible says fish, came and swallowed Jonah up. Jonah lived in the belly of the whale, or the belly of the fish, for 3 days and 3 nights. Come on. Well, the word of God, well, there's a reason why they did that to you. There's a reason for that. You can't live in the belly of a fish 3 days and 3 nights. You can't breathe. We're people of science. That was thousands of years ago. They didn't know science like that. You say, but Jesus, I know what Jesus said. Jesus said, like Jonah is in the belly of the fish 3 days, 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the belly of the earth. If Jesus said Jonah existed, then if you say there's no Jonah, then you calling Jesus a liar. See, that's not true. Most people don't read the book. They listen to the stories. It says, and Jonah was on the boat. They threw Jonah over the edge of the boat. And there was a fish that God prepared. If you read it, it says that God prepared. So it tells you this is not a normal fish. It was a fish that God made with oxygen and atmosphere in the belly. You say, so God made that fish especially for Jonah. Well, it's a metaphor here. God is trying to explain something to us who can't understand these spiritual things. So he has to use metaphors, stories. When Jesus talked to people, he said a sower went out to sow. Some seed fell on, some seed fell on. When's the last time you went out to sow? And when is the last time you understood about something being sown? How to understand the Bible. So now you're realizing, okay, so what is it I'm trying to understand? Forget trying to understand the Biblio, the 66 books. Pick one. Okay. But what if I pick the wrong one and go to hell? Forget that. That's why I teach. That's why I teach a certain way. Pick a book and begin to read the book a little bit at a time. Here is what the Bible is. The Bible is to jumpstart your thinking. If you're going to binge it, binge it. But remember what the Bible is. It is not stories. It will jumpstart your thinking. So if you say, open up John, chapter 1, pull out John. I got John. Leave the rest of them alone. Forget about it. Because what God wants to say to you is not in the future and it's not in the past. It's right now. Don't worry about whether you're going to understand the Bible later on. It doesn't matter. What matters is right now. Open up this one little book, John. See, if you could do it like that, it'd be a lot easier. And open up in John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word. See, I don't understand the Bible because I don't understand what the Word is. Now comes the second part of how to understand the Bible. I've told you, probably that's my 7 minutes. I've taught you that part. Here's how to understand it. I think you need four to five, probably 5 people or 5 things in your life if you're going to understand this spiritual life, because that's what the Bible is. It is a spiritual book. But it is a spiritual book about the culture, about the travelings of another culture. You would have to understand that culture to understand all the meaning of it. But what you have to do is transpose it for you. What do you mean transpose it? If I was to sing, oh, Jesus getting us ready for that great day. Jesus getting us ready for that great, oh Lord, that's too high. So what would I do? I would transpose it. Jesus, not me in B flat. Jesus, 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 Jesus getting us ready for that great day. Oh, that's too high for me too. I'm getting too old. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus getting us ready for that great day. Oh, Jesus okay, that's my key. Now, there's some of you sitting out there that say, I don't know the difference between the first one and that one. That is called tone deaf. So don't even worry about it. Some folk are Bible deaf. You know, they say, oh, I don't know the difference between that one and that one. Fine, don't worry about it. That's why you need a shepherd's bag. What's a shepherd's bag or a shepherd's pouch? I taught this while we were in COVID, and I left it too soon, but it was in COVID, so I couldn't really get into it. A shepherd, it's what David had when he killed the giant. Forget David's race, David's culture, Goliath's race, Goliath's culture. Forget all of that. We're dealing with something small beating something big. This is what we're dealing with. See, this is the metaphor of things. This is how God is speaking to our spirits. And so what he does, he says David went to the brook and got 5 smooth stones, put them in his pouch. Bam. And when he got ready to go after Goliath, he went in his pocket and his pouch and got one of the stones. Whether he felt it, they were all smooth, so we don't know which one he got. He got it, but evidently he got it, put it in his slingshot, because David was a slinger, and he slung it, and that's how he killed Goliath. That's how he brought Goliath down. It was one of the stones in the pouch. Ephesians chapter 4 teaches us something. It teaches us that we are given 5 gifts. 4 if you put a hyphen in there. And those gifts we are given an apostle, a prophet, an evangelist, a pastor, and a teacher. Now, we have a tendency, if you just go to anybody's church, they're going to teach you the biblical thing about what a pastor is or what an apostle is, and that's wonderful. I'm going to look at it, I look at it a different way, because I believe that all 5 of these can be transposed into our way of living. Teacher means I need to be taught about something. The teacher I may have in my life right now is a Black history teacher. Oh, not necessarily a Bible teacher. I've been doing this for over almost 50 years. Actually 50 years. So I need a Black history teacher in my life, in my pouch. because I got a racism demon, devil, and giant that has to come down. So as a leader, are you following me? So I need to know how the spiritual ties into race and culture, because I'm a slinger. A slinger is one who is very professional in how to shoot a rock through the air at a giant. You understand what I'm saying? Your teacher may be someone who is teaching you business. This is in your pouch, and how to connect to business. The pastor adds the spiritual dimension. The pastor here is a guide. One person could be two, but the pastor here is a guide. See, we think pastors are somebody you call when you die, or when you get married, or whatever, or when your marriage falling apart. Really, he can't help you in any of it. He can't bring you back to life. And if you already come in, I know people, by the time you get to the pastor with your marriage, it's basically gone by the time you get to him. He's usually the last resort. So, but anyway, you got this going on, and so you got the pastor here, and what did I do with my glasses? Where that? Right, left? There they go. Okay. And so the pastor is a guide. That's all. What is a shepherd? To help sheep to get to abundant grass. My job is to help, as in the pastor field, to get you to the abundance of the grass. Okay? So now we're moving, now you can tell we're flowing into this next thing about abundance. I basically taught you how to read the Bible, but you got to have these fivefold. This is another thing to understand this. This is why abundance is so important. I'm helping to teach you how to get into the grass, leading. Say, no, that grass don't look good over there. Try moving over here. You have to learn to listen to pastors. And I'm going to connect also the prophet in here, because sometimes pastors and prophets can be separated, or they can be the same. Not necessarily the same. It could be where they are in that mystical kind of cosmic area of the university. I just want to throw that at you so you get some wood. But the prophet speaks in the now, not necessarily concerning the future, but concerning the things now that will affect the future. You have to have someone that speaks into the ear, someone that speaks into your life, someone that knows how to even command the blessing and teach you to command the blessing. This is the prophetic word. The prophetic word. What are we looking at for 2024? What are the spirits telling us? What are the seasons that are moving? And the pastor is there to guide and say, no, that's not where we're going. That prophet is saying, that's not where we're going. Come on, let's keep up going this way. You're doing all right. I got my eye on you. Keep going. You don't necessarily need me there. Just, I got my eye on you. So, and the teacher, you got the history going on. What's happening in this moment? What happened 100, 200 years, because we repeat history over and over again. Then you have the apostolic voice, the apostle. Don't let that bother you. You know, you got folk who put, I'm apostle so-and-so, and that's fine for them, fine. But I don't think you have to put that on the front of your name. That's why I don't put, people say, Pastor Montgomery, Pastor, I take it, but I don't put pastor on the front of my name. It's on the end of my name. That's why I use Dr. Ed, because that's a different, anyway, but the apostle sets things what we would call in order. And so you got that. And then, of course, you have the evangelist. Now, this is where we get that word evangel, or evangelical. Evangelical. Now, let me throw this in here so you can understand this. Everybody who is white Christian is not the same white Christian evangelical. Every white Christian evangelical is not the same. What I mean by that is, when you say, I'm an evangelical, they say, oh, that's one of the white evangelical Christian nationalists. No, everybody's not the same. There's two kinds. Yeah. Jimmy Carter was actually the good kind. What do you mean? Listen, he had white skin. Rosalind Carter had white skin, And he was a Sunday school teacher all of his life. Now he's not gone yet. All of his life he was a Sunday school teacher. Here's the difference. Evangelicals that teach you to love is one kind of evangelical. Okay? The evangelicals that teach you, let me put it this way. The evangelicals that said there's going to be more people in heaven and less folk in hell. That's your good one. The more folks that are saying there's going to be more folk in hell and just us in heaven is not what you want. You can't throw the black people, the Latino people, the gay people. You can't throw all these folk in hell just because of your interpretation of the Bible. Okay? Now, I don't have time to break that down, but that's what ALC is about. This is what our ministry is about. It's helping you to understand these things as we go along this journey. Now, clearing up with abundance. Let me say this concerning abundance here. First of all, let me thank you for your, right after Thanksgiving, for your contributions and especially for your love offering. I very rarely talk about love offering.
I know I'm not supposed to be interrupting right here, but remember, myalc.org. That's myalc.org. And you can also give at 713-742-2035. You can use your text to give or use your app. If you're on the app, you can go right to that donate button and it won't change anything. You say, why in the world would you break my concentration? I'm sorry, but I wanted you to remember, because you know what? Just like there's a break in here, there's also going to be a breakthrough in your life. I believe that. Now, let's go.
Love offering are the ones that people give to me, and the things that, when you go on myalc.org and they give their section that says love offering. I don't talk about it because I don't want people to think that it's just me talking about my love gift or anything. Love offering, what it's about, hold on just a second, because this is a very important point that I need to put out. Love offering is something that is deep in the Old Testament. And what people do is to help further how I'm able to minister, how ALC minister to other people. That's what this love gift for. It could be retirement, because Carlton Pearson, as he's passed on, last time I told you he wasn't gone, but he left 12 hours later from when I talked about him last Sunday. He left out of here 12 hours later. They called me. And so he's passed on and transitioned, and I'm going into his service later on this week, this week. But I was looking at it, and I want to say to those of you who are out there, you may not be pastors of churches, but you're in leadership position in churches. Let me say this to you. Don't let anyone disturb the love offering that is given to those that are in your pastoral leadership. Don't take it, don't withhold it, and don't mix it with church funds. When people say this is love offering, they intend for that to be love offering. Some may say, you're just saying that to, no, I'm an apostle. I'm setting something in order for the future. I'm not going to be here always, but I'm setting something for the future. Don't touch it. Don't even mix it first and then. It must go straight into the hands. Let me tell you, most people don't know about what happens when love offering is given. I go to restaurants, and ALC helps the poor. Now, listen to what I mean. This is 40 years. I have never probably told you this. The mission of ALC concerning the poor, everybody has different missions. Some people, they do Thanksgiving dinners maybe once a year. They do Christmas toys once a year. We help the working poor. I'm going to say that again. Do you all know what the working poor is? It is people who work, and no matter how hard they work, they still can't get over that hump. ALC, when that love offering comes in, anybody been out to dinner with, if you've ever been out to dinner with me, or been anywhere where someone is helping me over a counter, Best Buy, anywhere, it doesn't matter. I have a tendency to give that person a tip. Huh? Well, they're just giving you service. No. They're the working poor. How do you know they're poor? Well, if they're not poor, then you give them a tip anyway because of their service. This is not word, that's not for y'all to do. But anyone that's been around me in my staff, in my organization, in my family, knows that you tip people. How many of y'all know that about me? And over tip. I don't go exaggerate because then they think you want something. Trying to get something from them. But I'm going to go past 20. I'm going to go past 20. I'm going to go past. There are times I go past. Why? And what happens is when I meet, especially a waiter or waitress, I'll say, how are you doing? Fine. I say, well, tell me about your family. So and so and so and so and so. Oh, yeah, well, I got 2 kids, I got 3 kids, I got 4 kids. This is what I got to do. And I know what kind of money they're paying them at that restaurant. And so what happens is I may make that restaurant my project for 3 or 6 months. And over tip every single time I'm in there. Now, in the church we call it benevolence offering. Everywhere I go, I tip. As a matter of fact, I over tip my love offering. Yeah. I don't think about that because God, if things are flowing right, God always replenishes everything that I do. You've heard me talk about tips. Our ministry, this is about the working poor. See, some folk forget the working poor. Some of y'all out there working and saying, seems like folk forgive me. I've watched people move from waiter to the manager and lose money because they ain't got no more tips. So I'll go through there, and at the front they say, well, I've been promoted to assistant manager. I say, okay, well, they took half of your money then. I said, well, here's a tip. Well, I'm sorry, I can't take that. Why can't you? They forbid you to take it? Well, no, but I just can't take it. There's nothing. I said, why? I said, when God wants to bless you, I said, when God wants to bless you, don't tell me you can't take it. The God of the universe sent me here to bless you. I don't have time to take a blessing back. And they're like, oh my God. I said, you got picked today. And there are other people who are like me, who are all over this city, who are doing the same thing. And in 40 years of ministry, can you imagine the tens of thousands of dollars that have been sown into the working poor? That's what love offering does. And that's why I tell folks, don't touch it. Leave it alone, you'll get sick. Not necessarily God will make you physically sick, but mentally and emotionally, it will mess you up. So I'm saying to pastors and leaders, understand there's a word for that thing called love offering. Leave it alone. Don't get so common with tithes and offerings that you're just throwing them in buckets. When you give them online, close your eyes. And when you click, my man, keep your eyes open when you click. But when you click, thank God. Make sure, well, I don't like people to know that I'm giving. I'm a secret giver. Well, no, you need, even you secret giver, tell the people at the organization, I'm secret, keep me anonymous, but you got to give your name, because there may come a time that IRS come up to you and say, oh, what are you? Well, I'm a secret giver. I gave this. They'll say, okay, put them in jail. You need accountability. And then finally, I brought it about Jimmy Carter and I brought about Carlton Pearson. We are at a place right now where our theology, and you can start your music now, I'm sorry, thank you, where accountability concerning our messages are coming out. And Bishop Pearson, we talked about the hell thing last week, but Bishop Pearson brought about this whole thing about salvation. Who's saved and who's not saved. And we're hearing about folk out there who want to send all of these kind of people to hell. I'm not telling you how to think. If you want to send folk to hell, go ahead. But just be careful. I can throw scriptures at you and references. If you want to know the references and things of that sort, well, you need to talk about that on Sunday. No, just send me an extra offering and I'll research it for you and send it to you. See, people who want to send folk to hell and want to get the research free, hey, but what we learn, if you got someone who grew up as a child in a Muslim country, and they grew up Muslim, they grew up reading the Quran. You got someone who grew up in a Buddhist country, someone who grew up in a Hinduism country, and that's the only religion they know as they grow up. You got somebody who may have grown up an atheist in communist China, or at the time the communist Soviet Union. And they grew up there. Their whole reference is that. I want you to think about this week. You have an American who comes up and stands up in a pulpit and says, if you don't believe the way I believe, you are going to hell. Think about that this way. How arrogant would that person be to look at other people and say, if you're not just like me? When the Puritans came off the boat, they looked at the Pequot and the Wampanoag, and they said, you all are wearing those little things around your body and little ropes and everything, and you need to put on pants like us. Wampanoag said, I ain't putting on no pants like y'all. We feel more free wearing our little tunic things. We've been wearing tunics all our parents, our grandparents. And they said, well, we came to tell you God is not pleased with the way you dress. Don't listen to pastor. This is history. And if you don't say God the way we say God, and they told him about this place called hell, they said, that's where you're going. And it became so oppressive that here's what the indigenous people said to the Puritans and the Separatists. If hell is where I'm going, based on what you want me to be and do, then I'd rather go to hell just to get away from you. Don't tell me you don't understand. There's some folks that have been through a divorce, and people told them, you better stay with them or you're going to go through hell. And that person will say, you mean the hell I've already been going through the last 7 years? Hell is relative. We have young black teens and young black men and women that are contemplating suicide. You can't stop suicide by telling them you're going to go to hell if you commit suicide. They're already in a mental hell. You got to teach them love. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, this is Dr. Ed. We've been on this journey for over 40 years. Some have been there with us for almost 40. Some have just started this journey with us. But what we've been able to do is help people to find joy, peace, enlightenment. They have grown tremendously, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and it's all because of your contributions, your help, our journey on this road. Take a moment, make a contribution at myalc.org. That's myalc.org. That's our website. That's our main place where you're even able to watch our show on Sunday mornings. Not only that, but you can also give through our app. And you can download that app from Google Play, or you can download it from the App Store by just typing in Abundant Life Center, or you can type in Ed Montgomery and the Abundant Life Center app will pop up and you can download it. It only takes a few moments. And you can have that way. You can carry us with you on your phone and your iPads and all those kind of good things. Not only that, but you can also do text to give. That's very popular because people are able to give if they forget to be on their, website or their app. They can just give right on the spot, real fast, real quick. Sometimes they do text to give even when we're inside of a church service. And you can do that by texting to 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. Or you could give through our P.O. Box. Safe, sound, secure. You can give, you can make sure you put a stamp on the envelope, but you can, write us a little note, drop me a little note, whatever you want to do, and mail it. There are some folks that's just, hey, I'm just going to mail this. And you can mail your contribution, and that's to the Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. I'm going to say it again. That's that old radio thing. You got to say it twice. Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. Continue on this journey with us. And if you're new for the first time, start this journey with us. I promise you, not only will it change your life, but you'll change the life of so many around you. And that'll make you feel real good inside. Thanks. Religion tells you that God is up there and you're down here. Religion tells you that God is over there and you're over here. Religion? Heard it all? I thought so too. Someone once challenged me not to think of the creator of the universe as just some big guy in the sky. I see it as more than that. This power helps us raise our kids. It helps us to get our businesses together. Makes us who we are. Now imagine this power not as some big guy in the sky, but as a power working in you. Now, how amazing would your life be?
Looking for something more? go to myalc.org. That's myalc.org. The Abundant Life Center for dynamic living through spiritual growth.
I'm Ed Montgomery. Looking for more?